ओ ओ ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणी यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुत्सुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः ॐ श्री गणेशाय नमः ॐ श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः So in this third chapter, which is Karma Yoga, Bhagavan tells us how to act unselfishly, dedicating all activities to the Lord. And he says that those of us who are parents or seniors or teachers in the community can guide our children, other members, yat yat acharati. So whatever we do, people will follow. Not what we say, but what we do, our children, grandchildren will follow. And then Bhagavan gives his own example that even though he has nothing to achieve in this world, in all the three worlds, but when he takes human birth, he works selflessly throughout his life. And even now he's driving Arjuna's chariot. So he says, if I don't work, first of all, as the Lord of the universe, the whole universe will stop because it is Bhagavan's energy that everything is working. And secondly, as a human, I will not be giving a good example to others. So then he said that a wise person should continue to work unselfishly. Those who are working with attachment should not confuse them, should not delude them, but guide them in the right way. And then last week we had heard about Prakriti and Purusha. He says the wise person knows himself as Purusha, as the self. I can just close the door. as the self. He knows himself as the self, the Atma, and he knows that Prakriti is working. So whatever activities are happening because of my equipment, my mind and intellect and my body, and I am the Atma, the self. Today Bhagavan will continue that same point in shloka number 28, chapter 3, shloka number 28. Tattvavittu mahabaho गुणकर्म विभागयोः गुणा गुणेषु वर्तन्ते इति मत्वा न सज्जते. Together, tattvavittu mahabaho gunakarma vibhagayoho guna guneshu vartante iti matva na sajjate. In the second line, vartante has been written vartanta because of sandhi rule. The A has lop ho gaya, but when it is written as vartanta, but when we break it, we pronounce as vartante. So tattvavit. Who is a tattvavit? Tattvavit, tattva means the essence. So vit means the knower. So one who knows the essence of truth, essence of who I really am, my true nature, that I am, that essence he knows, not only essence of me, but what is the essence of the whole universe. And that is only one. Bhagwan, you can call it Brahman, you can call it consciousness, you can call it Lord Shiva, Bhagwan Krishna, Rama, whatever. So that one consciousness which illumines the entire universe also illumines me as Om. So that Om and that Brahman are one. Atma and Paramatma are one. So one who knows that, Tattva Vittu, O Mahabaho, O great Arjuna warrior, who knows what? The difference between guna and karma. Guna are the qualities and karma are their actions. So knows the distinction, difference between the different kinds of gunas and their activities. What does he or she know? He knows guna guneshu vartante. Gunas are working in gunas. Iti matva na sajjate. Iti matva. Knowing this, he does not get attached, does not get confused. So we can see in this board that the first point is that there is a description difference between mind and self. Mind means all of this, the body, mind, intellect, all my equipment, the perceiver, feeler, thinker, objects, emotions, thoughts. Anything that is below V and below is the equipment, is the Prakriti. And Om is the Purusha, the self. So Prakriti means that is matter and spirit, what they call as matter or spirit, Purusha and Prakriti. So the wise person knows that the equipment is working. My body, mind, and intellect is equipment is working in the field of objects, emotions, and thoughts, and I am the ego, the perceiver, feeler, thinker. But that is not my real entity. That is my entity in this world, this name and form I have taken. But I am that true self. And once he knows, then he calls him Arjuna. Once you know that, then you should know how to act. He calls him Mahabaho. You are a great warrior. Because Arjuna was a great warrior, was one of the best warriors of his time. But he tells him now the war has not started with the Kauravas. War is in your mind. You are confused. Your mind is deluding you, taking you in the wrong direction, and your intellect has to guide. So that is the war. Same way, the other meaning of Mahabaho is look at Bhagavan Krishna himself. He was a Mahabaho. Arjuna addresses him as Mahabaho in the Gita later on, even though he doesn't pick up a single weapon. Throughout the war, doesn't hold a single weapon. He's driving the chariot, all the arrows are coming. But he's the one that guides the whole Mahabharata war, was won because of him. So even though he had no weapon, so that is true Mahabaho. And when he says guna guneshu vartante, what it means is that the our our gunas, our vasanas, our mind, intellect, our activities, guna, sattva, rajas, tamas, are working with the world. Because I am also made of sattva, rajas, tamas, my body, mind, intellect. And so is the world made of sattva, rajas, tamas. That is a mixture. That's how Prakriti created this entire universe. And in this, when I deal with situations or people, I'm always confronted with the pair of opposites. Something I like, something I don't like, somebody I love, somebody I hate. And our mind is always out in the world. I like this and I don't like this. I love this, I hate it. In fact, what I hate or dislike, I think more about. I'm all the time, my mind is there, and then my mind is all the time disturbed. That's why Bhagavan says, remain the same, sama shatraucha mitrecha, tatha manapamana yoho, shitoshna sukha dukkheshu, samasanga vivarjita. Remain the same. Do not have excessive likes or excessive dislikes. Do not get too involved, but remain sama, remain balanced. And bondage comes when, because I run after things I want and I don't get them, or if I get them, I get attached, I get bound, and what I'm running away from that. So these two things create my bondage. I like this, I don't like this, I want this, I don't. So Patanjali Maharishi had said very beautifully that nivritti, chitta nivritti is yoga. Reducing the activities of the mind is true yoga. And how do I do that? He says, by being a witness, by being a onlooker without getting involved. And the Patanjali Maharaj says that very beautifully. So he says that be a sakshi, be a witness, and watch that in the world sometimes things will be good, sometimes they will not. If I can fix it, fix it. Otherwise, just watch and say, okay, that's Bhagavan's doing, or that is my karmas that are happening. Whatever part of bhakti says, Bhagavan is doing everything. So whatever he's doing is for my good, even if things at this moment don't look nice. And in a person on the path of karma says, I must have done some karmas in this life or in previous life. So that's why this is happening. And what Bhagavan also says, introspect. Every day, sit down and think, how long was I in sattva? How long was I in rajas? How long was I in tamas? Was I kind, compassionate, sharing, or was I unselfish? Was I passionate, desirous, prompted, or was I negative, hurting others? And analyze your actions at the end of the day, so that I should keep my mind as much as possible in sattva. Sattva means knowledge, purity, unselfishness, compassion. Rajas is passion, aggressiveness, can become selfish. And tamas, of course, is the worst, laziness, so, indolence. So keep my mind as much as possible in sattva. And I don't need to review all my actions throughout the day. Just 2 or 3 actions will tell me how I have been working throughout the day. It's like a lady is cooking rice in a pot, you know. So when the rice is done, she doesn't have to check. She takes up 1 or 2 grains, presses them. If it's soft, she knows, okay, rice ban gaya. So she doesn't have to check every rice in the pot. So same way, I don't have to study all my actions all the time. But run like a movie, a screen through my mind. How have I been doing throughout the day? And use that to guide myself to do better. And that's what the great masters of they taught us, all the great masters. Swami Vivekananda said, you know, Utishta Jagrata, rise, awake, stop not till the goal is reached. Puja Swami Chinmayananda, his whole life was a message, was guidance. Uh, all these Shankaracharya ji, even in his 32 years, so much he accomplished. How did they become masters? Not overnight. Nobody can become a master overnight. To accomplish all these deeds that I go beyond the gunas and always attached to the self, the Atma, needs effort, needs time. And that's what they say, that putting the right effort in the right direction will guide us to our highest goal. So, as we should not stop till the ultimate goal of enlightenment is reached, which is my true purpose in life, to know the self, the Atma, and that is how I can call myself a Mahabaho, that if I can overcome the life's adversities, keep my mind on the self, Bhagavan, and then only I can be progressed on the spiritual path. And that is how what all the masters taught us. So that's why he says, a wise person, tattva with, knows all the gunas, all their activities, and knows that Prakriti, my BMI of my Prakriti is working with the Prakriti of the world, but I have nothing to do with that because I am Atma, I am self. Vasanas is also Prakriti. All of this is Prakriti. All of our the three gunas. Vasanas, body, mind, intellect, perceiver, feeler, thinker, objects, emotions, thoughts. Only thing not Prakriti is Om or Atma, and that alone is real. Everything else is just an illusory appearance upon Om. That's why they say that, even when you chant Om, the silence is the essence. On the silence, the sound of Om comes. So it is the silence that is Purusha, that is the spirit that represents that. We'll go to the next one, 29. Prakriter guna sammudaha sajjante guna karmasu tana kritsna vido mandan kritsna vinna vichalayet. Together, Prakritir guna sammudaha sajjante guna karmasu tana kritsna vido mandan kritsna vinna vichalayet. So, sammudaha, those who are deluded about the gunas of Prakriti, about what is Prakriti doing, and what is my purpose in life. They are confused or deluded. Sammudaha means completely deluded. What happens to them? Sajjante guna karmasu. They get so attached to gunas and karmas. So all these activities of sattva, rajas, tamas, and the mind is all the time in more in rajas, and rajas is where all the attachments occur, and 80-90% of the people, they are predominantly rajasic. There are very few sattvic, and then there are some who are completely tamasic, but majority of this world works in rajas, which is attachment. And so he says, one who is wise person, so these people who are attached to gunas of prakriti, Tan akritsna vida. Tan means to those people who are akritsna vida. Akritsna means who do not have the complete knowledge, do not have the right knowledge, do not have the clear knowledge, and mandan, and they are also deluded people who are dull-witted. So he says that people who have imperfect knowledge, who are dull-witted, kritsnavit, but the one who has the right knowledge and who knows what is right and wrong, what is prakriti and purusha. So he na vichalayet, he should not disturb or confuse people who are ignorant. So a wise person should not confuse people who are ignorant, should not take them away from activity. So what does Bhagwan mean? Prakrite guna sammuda sajante guna karmasu. Means our life, how are we dealing with the world? Senses deal with objects. I see, ears hear, nose smell, tongue taste, skin touch. So sparsha, shabda, sparsha, rupa, rasa, gandha. These are the five objects. Shabda is sound, sparsha is touch, rupa is sight, shabda, sparsha, rupa, gandha, and shabda, sparsha, rupa, gandha, and taste. Rasa, shabda, sparsha, rupa, rasa, gandha. So these are my five objects of my sense organs. And it is due to my vasanas, my desires, I run towards things I like, I run away from things I dislike. And because the vasanas strengthen, they come as desires in the intellect, thoughts in the mind, and actions in the object. And as long as I am under the influence of vasanas, I will keep doing in a particular way. And then when I get what I want, I will be happy and my vasana will be strengthened. If I don't get what I want, I'll be unhappy, I'll be angry, and my vasana will be strengthened further. I must have it. So, under the influence of vasanas, these wise, unwise people work with attachment to gunas and things. I want this, I want that. So, whatever objects I see, I must possess. So, that is the goal. So, unwise people don't know what is the purpose, why they are doing what they are doing. They are all the time confused. And they don't know how to act correctly. This reminds me of an incident. So, there were these two brothers, and one brother was going to be traveling for many months, and the other brother was home taking care of his cat and the mother, the two boys' mother. And the brother who was traveling had a cat to whom he was very attached. She had been with him for 12 years. So he asked his younger brother, please take care of my cat at home. So he said, no problem, I'll take care of them. And this was before email, computers, cell phones, and all. So you had to travel, and when you're traveling, you had to book a phone call. An operator would dial for you, and it was very expensive. So he said, I'll call you once a month and to check. So after a couple of months, he calls. And first month he called, everything is fine, don't worry. Second month he called and he asked the younger brother, how is my cat? He said, your cat died. So he got shocked. He said, this is not the way to tell, I love the cat so much and you disturbed my mind completely. So he said, what should I have said? He died. He said, no, you should say, cat was on the roof. And then from the roof, she couldn't get down. She was scared. And then when the people were trying to save her, she slipped and fell and broke her neck and she died. So that's how you should gently break the news. Don't just say died. So he said, okay, thank you. Yeah, I'll do that next time. So after a month, he calls, how is mother? So the younger brother says, mother is on the roof. So that's a Krishna with Buddha. So he says a wise person should not delude such a person, but give him the right advice. This person, even with right advice, I guess he didn't take it. So what happens when I'm so attracted to objects? Then I think I am the doer, karta. that is how I am the doer. And who is doing? Prakriti is doing. Last shloka we had heard from Bhagavan in 27 that Prakriti is doing, but person thinks I am doing, even though I am, my true nature is Atma, the self, the consciousness, but I think myself to be this body, mind, intellect. And so a person who thinks body and mind, intellect are me, he is a foolish, unwise person. Bhagavan throughout says, you are that Atma. And you should say, in my presence, this equipment is working. But one who thinks I am the doer, then he gets attached. Karta, he becomes the doer. Then after karta, he becomes bhokta. I did, so now I must get the reason. I must enjoy. If I don't get, then he becomes the sufferer. So he becomes the enjoyer or the sufferer. If things are going well, I'm enjoying. If things are not going well, I'm suffering. And all the time, our mind is all this, enjoying and suffering, not good, bad. So a wise person remains as a witness and remains detached. But to an unwise person, you tell him, oh, you should be detached, you shouldn't be attached. Before he has understood this knowledge, he thinks detachment means don't do it. If I'm not going to get anything, why should I work? So if you start telling him, be detached, be see the world, he will say that means I shouldn't work. So when he's working, let him continue to work, even with attachment. At least tamas, he's not in tamas, at least he's in rajas. From tamas, at least he has gone to rajas where he's working, even though selfishly, and then slowly guide him, guide this person who is unwise how to work in the right way. And you cannot guide him by giving him talks or lectures. You have to show him by your own example. So work with him, but work without attachment. And when he sees how work can be done without attachment, without I, me, and my, then slowly you can modify his thinking. So if there's a group of people going in one direction, as we had studied last week, don't stop them, but join them and then slowly lead them in the right direction. So a leader has to lead by example, not by advice. People say, do as I say, not as I do. No, the students will watch or the children will watch what you are doing and they will copy what you're doing, not what you are saying. So they say lead by example. Let your life be your message. That's what Mahatma Gandhi also, somebody asked him, what is your message for the people of India? He said, my life is my message. How I have lived, that should be the guide for everyone. And same thing for students also. For if we just tell them you should study, you should study, you should study, and we are watching TV and wasting our time, then he will say what mom and dad are not doing anything. They are all the time on the TV, on the computer, on their cell phone. They are asking me to study. So what should I do? I should also study. Pick up a Bhagavad Gita or pick up some good book, some good message, some life of saints or wise people, and with my example, and then also show them what is the benefit of studying. So only when they are themselves convinced that that is good for me, for my career, for my life, because if I do well in school, then I will have a good career, maybe go to a good college, get into my career, job. Everything depends on hard work and study. So we ourselves should work hard and be a guide. And so teach him the value of studying, teach him the value of doing the right things. And so that is how, and that's why Puja Gurudev started Bal Vihar, that children in Bal Vihar, how they should be encouraged to on the right path using examples of Sri Rama, Bhagwan Sri Krishna, and the great saints of India and the West, in our curriculum. And through Bhagavad Gita, how children should be guided in the right direction. So he says, if you have the knowledge, do not delude the unwise, but guide them on the right path. Now, this number 30 is one of there are a very few shlokas which are very powerful. This is one shloka which can change our life. If you want to label it, you can call it Secret of Success. How to be successful. Very beautiful shloka, number 30. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya chetasa निराशीर् निर्ममो भूत्वा युध्यस्व विगतज्वरः मयि सर्वाणि कर्माणि सन्न्यस्याध्यात्मचेतसा निराशीर्निर्ममो भूत्वा युध्यस्व vigatajvaraha. So, Mai, in me, Bhagavan says, in me, sarvani karmani, all activities, sanyasya means having renounced, means having surrendered, having renounced all activities in me, dedicated all activities to me. I am doing this for you, Bhagavan. Having done that, and where should I keep my mind? Atma Chetasa. My mind should be kept in Om. My mind should be kept in God's presence within Adhyatma Chetasa. So mind should always be with God, God who is not only came as Bhagavan Sri Krishna, but is my true nature. And then he says three things you should do. Nirashi, have no hope. He says, work without hope. How can I work without hope? He says, I will explain. And then nirmamaha, and without I, me, and my, the ego. So work without hope, work without ego. Bhutva means having become without hope and without ego. Then yudhyasva, fight, vigata jwaraha, without fever. So he said, that's very hard. What do you mean have no hope, have no ego, I or my, and have no fever? I don't understand that, Bhagwan. So we'll try to explain that. Puja Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda ji has done a very good job. Beautiful commentary. If you don't have, everybody should buy the 18 volumes, 18 chapters, which we have in the office. That is the best commentary on Bhagavad Gita by Puja Gurudev. I have had the privilege of having read a few other commentaries, some of the important ones, Radha Krishnan and Vinoba Bhave and Eknath Ishwaran and all. And Prabhupada, I have had the good fortune, but I find that Puja Gurudev's commentary is the best, most clear explanation of the Bhagavad Gita, and it is very modern in English. So he says, Mai Sarvani Karmani. So first is Yudhyasva. People say fight, the second line. He says, why does our Bhagwan tell us to fight? And all your gods, especially the other religions will criticize. All your gods have weapons, Mother Durga has weapons and Bhagwan Vishnu has weapons. Ramchandra ji is carrying bow and arrow. Your gods are all fighting and you are saying fight. So what is this? But we have to understand that Hindus have never attacked another country. We have always lived, non-violently and accepting others, even when others came. It is only others who have constantly attacked us, whether it was Alexander the Great or whether it was Mahmud Ghaznavi or other, Afghans and Mughals, and then ultimately the British and the Christian. So we have all the time being attacked by others. And yes, at times we have defended, but basically ahimsa paramo dharma, that is our Upanishad say that ahimsa is the highest dharma. So when Bhagwan says fight, what he means is that Arjuna's duty at that time was to fight. That was what he was supposed to do, to destroy the evil doers. And that was his job. And who had, stolen the kingdom and molested their wife and took away all their wealth by by dishonest means. And they were also destroying the country, because evil kings will make the country go down. So, and for us, fight is not to, we don't have any war to fight, but we have our own personal battles. In life, we all of us have some problems, some difficulties, some things arising. So, do your duty in life, whatever the circumstances come, do not let them go down. So that is fight. Then he says, without hope, nirashi. I'll go word by word. This is very important. And we'll go to the second line first. So yudhyasva, fight. Then nirashi means without hope. So what is hope? Hope is in the future, that right now my things are not good. Maybe in the future things will get better. So in the process, I am not doing what is my duty correctly, always thinking about the future. I hope I get this. And then I keep changing my goals and my objects, and my mind is all the time worrying about the future. Anxiety, if I don't get, what will happen? I go for an interview. If I don't get a job, what will happen? If I'm that anxious, I won't do very well in the interview. So anxiety is for the future. Nirmamaha means without ego. Where does ego come from? The past. Whatever I have done in the past has determined who I am right now. I'm a doctor, or I'm an engineer, I'm a lawyer, I'm a husband, I'm a wife, I'm a father, mother. All these it comes from the past. And I in the ego, I always regret. I shouldn't have done that. I made such a mistake. And so all the time, the past is weighing me down. It does not mean you don't learn from the past. You must learn from the past if I have made mistakes, but then do not keep dwelling upon it again and again. I shouldn't have done. Then what will happen? Our actions won't be good. Either I'm anxious for the future if I don't get, or I'm regretting, last time I went for interview, I didn't do good, I failed, I didn't get the job. So this time also I won't get. So when your mind is either worried about regrets of the past or anxieties of the future, you won't do well in the present. Then people say work in the now, that has become very popular, stay in the present. But Bhagavan says even in the present, you can get deluded and you have fever. What kind of fever? Fever does not mean a temperature. Fever means agitation. Agitation. At this moment, I get disturbed, I get agitated, I don't know what to do, or the work anxiety, or the anxiety for success, or the I'm not able to work, I'm not able to do. So either I'm worrying about the future, or I'm worrying about the past, or I'm so agitated or confused in the present, I'm not able to do well. So Bhagavan says, when you are working, give up the anxiety of the future. You say, if my actions in the present are good, results will be good. When past is over. I cannot redo it. So just learn from it and move on. And also the future, I am not there yet. I am in the present. So do the present without fever means keeping Bhagwan in mind. Have Bhagwan in mind at all times. And then your actions, and remember the Lord, and then do the right action with the right knowledge from the scriptures, from the wise people, from the Mahatmas, and learning from them, then your actions will be without anxiety, without agitation, without fever. And Bhagwan says, Mai Sarvani Karmani, dedicate all actions to me. So here we see that Bhagwan Sri Krishna reveals himself as the Brahman, as the Atma, the consciousness, the supreme manifested on the earth. So Arjuna should not think that Bhagwan is just my brother-in-law or my driver, but he is the supreme. And slowly Bhagwan throughout the Bhagavad Gita will reveal his nature in the 4th chapter. he does that, and then in the other subsequent chapters, in 10th he talks about his glories, and 11th he reveals the Vishwa Rupa, the cosmic form. So Bhagwan is revealing his identity to Arjuna and to us, that it's Bhagwan Krishna is not only a human, he is the supreme. And then he says, Sanyasya, absorb all your actions in me. Keep your mind in me, surrender all your actions in me. You say, and whatever I do, Tera tujhko arpan, kya lage mera. I have done nothing, Bhagwan. Whatever I am doing is dedicated to you, and the results also come from you. So at that time, you don't worry about the result. When you have surrendered to the Lord, सौंप दिया इस जीवन का सब भार तुम्हारे हाथों में. We have learned that bhajan. I have surrendered everything to you. So you are responsible for the results. And channel our actions with the right attitude in the right direction. They give the example of a business. Say we start a business, and we raise funds. Say we have few $1 million, and we have raised from all the shareholders, and I'm starting a new business factory and all that. So you conserve that. You don't start wasting that money here and there. Spend it wisely, intelligently, where it is required and when it is required. And then with that fund, if we need to buy some, building or buy some other business, and slowly you expand. So intelligently invest, conserve that money, invest it, put it in the right direction. Then the company will be successful. Same way in our personal life, what is our wealth? What is our assets? It is all our energy, our energy that we have got from Bhagwan. And how do we waste it? The three ways: by hope, regrets, and fever. So when I do not waste my energy by doing wrong activities in the body, mind, intellect, and direct the energies of my equipment to the higher goal, guided by the scriptures, guided by gurus and mahatmas, when my action is in the right direction, then I do not waste my energy. So you conserve your energy, direct it in the right path, just as a businessman conserves his wealth. My wealth is my inner energy, whatever I have abilities I have got from God, and my ability to work, to think. So direct them in the right direction. Do not waste them here and there, as we said, in the worrying about future, past, present, all the disturbances, the fever, the agitation, and do my duty, whatever I am supposed to do at this moment. Do it with, while I am doing it, do the best. Do not think about the results. Of course, I have to plan my actions, just as a businessman has to plan how his business will work. So I have to conserve my body as if it is like a business. I have my abilities, I conserve them, use them in the right direction, and continue to grow and progress, not only materially, physically, but grow spiritually. So that is the true growth, that is the true progress. When we look at the end of the year, we measure our net worth. How much, okay, last year I was worth this much, this year I'm worth, I've got 20% gain in my stocks, in my business, I bought a new house, a car. So we judge our progress by spirit, by material progress, but masters tell us, judge by, in this year, how much closer have I come to God? How much have I progressed towards God? How much have I practiced the Bhagavad Gita? That is true progress. So he says, Bhagavan says, dedicate all actions to me, keep your mind on the self, on God, give up anxiety for the future, regrets of the past, fever of the present. Do your duty without worry. And I am with you. I will take care of the results. That's why in the ninth chapter, he says, Sarva karman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja. aham tva sarva papebhyah mokshayishyami ma shucha. In the 18th chapter. And then ninth chapter, he says, Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate tesham nityabhiyukta mam yoga kshema vahamyaham. So in the ninth chapter, he says, I take care of whatever you need and keep your mind in me, then I will do that. In the 18th, he says that I, remove or surrender all to me. And that is how Bhagwan is. Throughout the Bhagavad Gita, he guarantees or assures us that if you dedicate your actions to me, I will take care of you. Now, the last one is also very beautiful. What happens to people who follow this path? And then next week, he will say what who don't follow this path. So, Bhagwan throughout gives us a choice. I'm giving you this choice. You choose. And if you choose, what will happen? So, we'll see that. Number 31. Ye me matamidam nityam anutishtanti manavaha श्रद्धावन्तो न भु श्रद्धावन्तो न सूयन्तः मुच्यन्ते तेऽपि कर्मभिः ये मे मतमिदं नित्यम् अनुतिष्ठन्ति मानवाः श्रद्धावन्तो न सूयन्तः मुच्यन्ते तेऽपि कर्मभिः. So he says, ye me matam idam. So me matam means this is my opinion, my advice, my words. Idam, this what I have spoken to you. Nityam. Nityam means constantly. Anutishtanti. Anutishtanti means they follow it, they practice it, they live in that. Manavaha. So all beings, all humans, male, female, young, old, everyone who follow this path of mine. Shraddhavantaha means with faith. And what is faith? We'll talk about. And anasuyanta. Suyanta means one who criticize, complain all the time. Anasuyanta means one who don't criticize or complain. Muchyante, they will be freed from tepi. They also will be freed from all karmas. So what do we mean by freed from all karmas? So what it says is that Krishna has given us laws, and the whole universe works under laws. In Bhagavad Gita, he has explained, but we see his law of gravitation, law of magnetism, electricity, everything is maintained, all the planets, the stars, the seasons, winter, spring, summer, autumn, all that follow, everything follows. The flowers bloom, the fruits come, the grains come. Everything is happening by his laws. Every cell in my body is functioning with Bhagwan's laws. So if we don't follow the laws, and how do we follow Bhagwan's, the main essence of Bhagavad Gita? There are many, but one important one is Karma Yoga. When I work unselfishly, dedicating my actions to Bhagwan for others, for the integration of society, then he says that person will be a benefit, a blessing to society. But one who works as the ego, I, me, and my, let me get what I want, I don't care about the world, works selfishly, then he will become an ulcer to society. He will become a cancer. So he says the choice is yours. Do you want to become a blessing to the world, or do you want to become a cancer or an ulcer upon the body of the world? So we have this constant choice, and one who follows it, nityam. Nityam means this should become our regular way of thinking and working in the world. Not, okay, if I studied for a while, my mind is on this, I practice, and then some problem comes, and then I get, start doing selfish things, start doing wrong things. No, it should become a constant way of life. I should make my life for my own growth, for the growth of society, and for my spiritual evolution, and for the evolution of all. So Nityam, it should be practiced. And then with faith, Shraddha. Now, Shraddha, one thing we think faith is blind faith, Guru ne bol diya, just practice it. Not like that. Shankaracharya ji says, faith accompanied by knowledge is Shraddha. Shraddha is not blind faith. Faith, when you have heard the teachings of the Guru, and Shankaracharya ji says, the teachings of the Guru and the Shastras. Gurus and Shastras words, after you have heard, you have understood, and then you are convinced, that is Shraddha. So he says, understand the words, what I'm saying, Bhagavan says, and then only if you believe, you practice, that is Shraddha. And anasuyanta, there are some people who are always criticizing, always complaining. Oh, things are not going well. I'm having problem. And anybody gives them advice. No, this is not practical. Bhagavad Gita may hai, but that's not practical. That was given thousands of years ago to Arjuna. What use is it for me? And even if they find some religious book, they're always criticizing, complaining, and saying, "Oh, it's bekar, it is old, it is not valid." Oh, Sri Rama lived, thousands of years ago. What am I going to do with his life? Or why are we studying? So their whole life is spent in complaining, criticizing. They are never happy. And there are people like that. We all know there are some people who constantly look at the world in a negative manner. So he says, do not do that. Do not complain, but accept the scriptures. And muchyante tepi karma bihi. They are freed from karmas. Karmas does not mean that they don't work. Then it says, but how can that be a goal of life? Do not work. We are freed from karmas. What Bhagavan Sri Krishna is saying, that how do karmas come? Karmas come by desires. So from vasanas come desires. Desire in the intellect becomes thoughts in the mind, and then in the body becomes actions. So all actions arise out of desire. And if my actions are selfish desires, then I'm strengthening my vasanas. I'm strengthening my. But if I do actions unselfishly, what we call karma yoga, then those actions do not increase my vasanas, do not lead to more negativity. So actions done with the positive spirit, done in the right direction, it is like writing on water. If I write on water, it doesn't leave an impression. So doing karma yoga or writing on air, like birds flying on air, they don't leave any impression. So similarly, actions done with the spirit of karma yoga do not leave impressions, do not leave. But actions done selfishly lead impressions. So what is important is the desires behind the action. Is my desire of surface, or is my desire of myself? And that determines. So that's why when they say actionlessness, the Upanishads say that comes from desirelessness. When I have desirelessness means I do not have any personal selfish goal. Of course, I have to maintain my body, maintain my family and all, but that is not my main purpose. Then my actions become pure, and then I go beyond karmas. And then he said, what about my needs? He said, Bhagavan said, I will take care of your needs. Ananyas chintayanto mam. He said, yoga kshema, whatever you need, and whatever you need, I will provide, and kshema, I will protect. So yoga is I will give you what you need, and kshema is I will protect what you have. And that is called surrender to God, absorbing your mind in God. I'll end with a very beautiful example. I heard this from one of the wonderful teachers. He says there was this Bal Vihar class, and the teacher, she was very intelligent. And so she asked each children to make a cage, help them. And so the bottom was cage was strong, made of wood, and then there were some bars. So some of the adults helped them. So they made this cage with bars, and they put a wooden bird, not a real bird. And the bottom of the cage, she told the children, represents ignorance. And the bars represent vasanas, anger, greed, jealousy, hatred, selfishness. So now you have put the bird in the cage, right? So how can the bird escape? And then there was a tree. The tree represents the world, Urdhva Mula Madha Shakam. The whole world is like an upside down tree, Bhagavan tells in the 15th chapter. So now the bird needs to escape from the cage and get out of this tree of samsara. So how can the bird do that? So one way is that if the bird becomes strong and can break the, the, the floor, the bottom of the cage. So the bottom of the cage represents ignorance. So the bird can break the bottom and come out. Or other way is that the bars are thick of steel, bird cannot break, but she can become small and slide out through the bars. So what it means is that if we have ignorance blocking us on our spiritual journey, we are so caught up in the world of samsara that we cannot go to the higher. So either through knowledge, I can become strong and break the bond of ignorance. Because what is our main problem? Ignorance, avidya, kama, karma. With ignorance, I get desire, and then I do desire prompted action. So with avidya, I break avidya by jnanam. So the bottom of the cage, if I'm that strong, if I have the right knowledge, and if I have the guru teaching me, and if I have studied Bhagavad Gita, then I can get out of the cage by knowledge. So break the ignorance. But if I don't have the strength to do that, then what do? I become small. Bhagwan, I surrender to you. You are everything. I am nobody. And with that total bhakti and total surrender, I tera tujhko arpan. I do all my activities for God. And I become so small that I can get out of this bondage of all these vasanas, karmas, all this anger, greed, jealousy. So one is the path of knowledge and action guided by knowledge. So that is the first path. And second path is path of bhakti, surrender. So these are the two ways. And there you say, Bhagwan, I am surrendered to you. You take me out of this. I myself am nothing. Actually, the truth is we ourselves are nothing. It is everything is happening because of His grace. One great Swamiji, Swami Aparajita Nandaji had told this, and this is something, there are 4 Mahavakyas in Upanishads. He says there are 4 Mahavakyas. I am nothing, I know nothing, I do nothing, and I have nothing. I am nothing, I know nothing, I do nothing, and I have nothing, which means everything is Bhagwan. Actually, if you look at it, every cell of my body is working because of Him. My brain is thinking because of Him. My mind is feeling. My body is moving. My hands, my speech. Everything is because of Bhagwan's grace. And if Bhagwan's grace was not there, we wouldn't be able to talk. We wouldn't be able to sit, listen, walk. So these 4 Mahavakyas, if we can adopt, it will change our life. So I'll end here with this beautiful shlokas. I'm so blessed I was able to share them with you.
So I think the last one is very nice. What you said, Hariyo to everybody. I'm Krishna. So the 4 things what you said is, I am nothing, I know nothing, I do nothing,
and I have nothing.
And I have nothing. That's very nice. What I learned today from 28, 29, 30, and 31 of Bhagavad Gita is, I think overall is, it looks like for me, is detachment, surrender, and faith in the divine. So the wise understands the difference between the self and the actions of the body-led mind. The ignorant is attached to the actions, probably because of identification with the ego. Then Krishna advises Arjuna is surrender all your actions with a pure heart.
Right.
Then the people who follow the path of selfless actions are not bound by bondage.
Right.
Meaning that people who are following karma yoga will escape the cycle of karma.
Thank you.
So
That's good. Very good. Thank you. Yeah, Kusum.
Hari Om, everybody. I think Gurudev stressed a lot of this sloka number 30, that we should learn it by heart and practice it. It's the essence of Karma Yoga, which starts from the second chapter until the end of this chapter. And also Guruji explained that this is like Anilji said, it is the secret of success or it is the essence of the Karma Yoga. And there are two things that, the two lines that if we practice it correctly, is that conservation of the energy is so very important, not only in our spiritual studies, but also in our material work when we are doing, which he already described so well. Plus, Gurudev has described exhaustively those three things in this Bhagavad Gita, which is the future, past, and present. That if we conserve our energy, will become efficient. And he says your success will be surely yours. You would not be failing if you conserve your energy. And the second secret was secret of dedication, to offer all with our thoughts, mind, and deeds, offer all everything to God. And as Anilji mentioned, that bhakti is the one which connects us to God, and that's like a bridge. So bhakti is a bridge between us, our mind, and God. So if we attach with either bhakti or jnana, I think that probably the secret of success will be ours all the time. And doing this will just not go through any transmigration, and ultimately God will lead us to Him. And I think this is so very important. I just love this one a lot.
Thank you. Yeah, number 30 is what everybody should memorize, know the meaning and practice. See if Sarvanand would like to add. So know the meaning and practice it. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I have some question on the 28.
Yes.
Anyways, basic question I think so, but regarding the earth, I think you said some more hurts, you will always remember the people, right? I'm facing the same issue, right? Someone hurts, that people always comes into mind. So, but the hurt people, for example, if they do the wrongdoing, okay, so even though they're hurting others, if they do the wrongdoing, it impacts the other people also. In the case whether we can take it to the next level or it's okay, then we can leave as it is. So what we can do?
So you mean somebody is hurting others? What
Yeah.
should we do?
Yeah. So what you can do? Some already I hated the peoples, but even though that hated peoples doing the wrongdoing again and again, even though we said several times, but it's happening again and again, so that not only impact me but also impact the other circumstances, other people.
Right.
In that case,
Right.
whether we can leave as is or else we can, because no, I could see if I am the city hall, I could feel it. Yeah, it's good. But if they go on the outside, it's totally different, right? Yeah, because we need to
Right.
work with the people. So in the case, what's this?
So I think if somebody is persistently doing wrong actions and hurting others, and I am observing it, If I can fix it, I have to fix it. If I can do something to help the other person who is being persecuted, if I have the ability, say I'm in a position of power, or I have the right knowledge, I have the strength, I have the abilities, strength, then I should help. If I can help, I must help, definitely. But if I am not in a, say that it is my boss and he's harassing another employee, giving him a hard time, I can't do anything about it, because if I say something, I'll lose my job too. Then you can try, but then you have to just accept that this is how the boss is, and this is how that other person, or even to myself, if he's giving me a hard time, doing something wrong, if I can fix it, I fix it. Okay, secondly, boss is giving me a hard time, giving me constant trouble, and I cannot do anything about it. I cannot fix it. Then I can resign from the job and leave. Okay, this is not acceptable to me. I don't want to live in such a situation. But if I can't even do that, because if I leave, I don't have another job, what will my family do? Then the third choice is accept it without complaint, that this is how it is. And this is either my prarabdha or the other employee who is being, and and also we don't know which side of karma it is on. Maybe in the previous life, I or this other employee had persecuted the boss, and so it is coming back to me. So when you understand the law of karma, that nothing happens without a reason, then you accept, okay, it was my prarabdha, it is my prarabdha in this life, or that other employee's prarabdha who is being tortured or persecuted. And then if that boss is doing something wrong, then he will suffer the consequences of that action. So in that way, you accept without complaint. And when you are accepting things fully, things get better on their own. If you are agitated, angry, why, then you will be just creating more conflict. But if my mind is calm and peaceful, and I say, Bhagwan, teri dunya hai, you are running this world, whatever is happening is because of your action. So I just accept everything, then in the end, the results will be good.
Okay, thanks.
So 3. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think, this will be the one last answer. Yeah, go ahead.
I've always said that send love to everybody, the vibration of love, even to the most hated, you send it, and the things will change very gradually, but really very well. So I think that also, which we cannot, when we are hurt, we cannot pray or something, but pray and send, we all have love, so send that vibrations, even to the most hated one. And I think I love that Gurudev saying to us.
Yeah, very nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we'll end here and continue next week. Thank you very much. You can stay for lunch, please. We do have lunch. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayaha, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om Asato Ma Satgamaya, Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you very much. Hari Om.